Good morning, everyone. This is Anthony P., your coach and contributor at the DFS Army for baseball, hockey, and recently just launched new service, Beat the Bookie, sportsbook service on smashing the books at the DFS Army. Within that program and service, we are offering betting models to our VIPs, and many of them have reached out and said, "How can we use this? How can we use this for DFS?" Because many of our VIPs at Beat the Bookie are also DFS players, and I promised many of you that I was going to make a video show you guys how this could be used and how we could make your life easier in finding some edge opportunities versus everyone else, and again, using this data to either confirm or find opportunities that, once again, going to give you an edge over the rest of the DFS community into your GPPs or single entries or 20-man tournaments. So let's take a deep dive in these next 15 minutes on how we could leverage this model. And if you guys have any other questions, then just feel free to find me on Twitter at Anthony P _ PMI or hunt me down in one of the Slack channels, and I'll be more than happy to continue this with you folks in one of our Slack channels. So a quick introduction to the model. There's three sections: the money line analysis, the over-under analysis, and the team total analysis. Each section have the Vegas numbers, and each sections have the model numbers. So people tend to ask me, how do you get to these numbers? How do you get to these totals? How do you get to these team totals? Well, we're not going to give away our secret for sure, but it's many sub models that are built within this model that average out, last 5, last 10, last 15, home and away splits, expected lineups, a little bit of weather. There's many factors that are accounted into this model. That's why I update it about 5 to 6 times a day, and I make sure that you guys know when it's updated, because there's many things that change throughout the day. Some of the sub models, the data is not available, so that average sometimes needs to be ran a couple of times to make sure that we've got the most accurate prediction. And this betting model is at the most accurate, I would say, about maybe an hour to 45 minutes to an hour to lock, where we were capable of amassing all the data. So let's take a quick example of how we could read the model before we start getting into some details. And we'll take a game where there's no real red flags here from the model. So we'll take the Nationals and the Cardinals. The model is expecting the Nationals to win. The Nationals' implied win percentage is at roughly 52%, and Vegas is saying 50%. So this translates in a money line of minus 102. And the model translate a money line of minus 108. There's absolutely no edge over here. The model is agreeing with Vegas, so we move on to the totals. Vegas has posted a 9 total. The model has a 9.46. It's less than half a run. It doesn't really trigger a big difference here either. And when we're looking at the model team total and the Vegas team total, based on the money line and the implied team total from Vegas, comes out with a team total for each team. For the Nationals, it's 4.5, and for the Cardinals, it's 4.6. And this is what the model's prediction has. Again, no edge whatsoever. But we could move along and say, is there some interest for some bats over here? Yep, of course. I'll let the other coaches talk about that. About me personally, if I'm playing, 20 lineups, or if I'm playing 150, is this going to be a game that I'm going to be interested in? But potentially, I'll have some people. But this doesn't stand out for me right now. So, we move along. if you're playing cash or if you're playing GPPs and you want to find a sneaky pitcher, or you want to just get a confirmation of, am I doing the right thing if I'm leading with, um, Verlander tonight? If we use the example of the money lines, and we'll use two examples here so you can see the difference with two different sets of pitchers. But Vegas has Houston at a minus almost 300. The model has Houston at a almost minus 300. Without getting in all the details, Verlander is a very solid pitcher. Very safe for me to want to run with him tonight. I think there's other options. Marquez looks really, really, really good also. So again, I don't want to get into all those details, but the model here says, yep, the minus 300 is pretty much valid and solid pick. Where we're going to find a gap, we're going to focus right here, all right? And these are really shitty pictures, but I think this is going to give you guys a pretty good example. Of what we're trying to accomplish over here. Chicago White Sox, Vegas, implied win percentage of 62%. The model comes back and says, you're out of your mind. And we've got this game with the White Sox implied win percentage at 53%. So there's a big gap in the money line from minus 166 to minus 113. People that are looking at Giolito right now, the model is confirming that this game is overpriced on the Chicago White Sox. The line should be more into a pick'em. And if you liked Giolito, by looking at this model, you'd maybe want to back up or back off completely. And this is all going to be part of how you put all the tools that we've got together and say, okay, this is a safe pick. And then, you're looking at the model and you're saying, maybe not. And then it could also happen, somebody turn around and say, holding on a second, is Liriano even an option? Right? Liriano is never an option. But, if you are going really contrarian, you're going crazy, you want to do something really, really different, when you're looking at the value that the money line here the model is showing us, this says that Liriano's got a fair shot in winning this game. Right? Why wouldn't he be considered if you're playing 150 lineups and say, hey, you know what, just give me maybe 5 to 10 or 5 to 12% or 7 to 12% of Liriano here. But you can't just stop there. You need to look into the numbers and say, is this even a good option? So what are we looking here? Are we looking for strikeout upside while looking at this current career versus current White Sox? He's at 31% case. This is really interesting. When you're looking at the White Sox in the last 30 games against left-handed pitcher, they're striking out at 32%. So, third best team in the last 30 days in terms of WRC plus. Can he get hits? Yeah, for sure. But this becomes a little bit more interesting. So we're not rolling with Liriano at 50% tonight, but when you're looking at the numbers, when you're looking at the model, and you're saying, okay, Liriano will most probably be completely disregarded. Nobody's going to be going for him. Maybe I should have a little bit of him. And when we're looking at early projections right here, he's going to be under-owned. He's going to be owned under 1%. These are early projections that I have right here, right? And you can see the rest of the guys. But we're starting early and we're saying this. So, I don't want to get into too much DFS strategy and who to pick and not pick for tonight's slate, but this is something that the model could help you with. If he goes crazy and he gets 50 points, great. How many times can that happen? Not too sure. Can it even happen 1 out of 10 times when you use the strategy? It can. But however, when it will happen, it will freaking pay off. So this is the way we could use the model in identifying some value into pitchers, or confirming that this is actually properly priced, and you don't have Verlander at minus 300, but the model has them at minus 150. It's after juice. Maybe we want to lay off with Verlander, or maybe it's going to push you to look into the game a little bit more and finding out what's going on. When we're looking at the over-under analysis here, we're going to focus on the games that are in green. Vegas says Toronto and Tampa Bay are priced at 8.5. Over here, we're saying that the game should finish around 10 runs. It gives us a difference of almost 1.5. So, this is the Vegas totals, and this is the model totals. When people are going to start looking at, which teams should they start attacking, or where do I start to build my stacks, people are going to look at the Vegas totals and say, okay, 9.5, this is juicy, this is juicy. My focus is going to be on these two teams. Do we agree? Yes, the model absolutely agrees. Actually, the overs are a little bit more higher than Vegas is anticipating for both these games. However, you're going to have a game like this where people are probably not going to look at it. The model says it's almost 10. People are focusing on these two games right here. We've got an 8.5, an 8.5, an 8.5, but then we've got Toronto and Tampa Bay close to 10. People might not look at these games. So this might be games where it potentially will carry a little bit lower ownership, and you want to have a little bit of both teams maybe. How much of both teams do you want? Well, then we could segue into the team total analysis, where the model's got team totals and Vegas as team totals. And I really like to write down the top 5 model team totals for a particular slate and put the Vegas team total and just compare them. But we got Tampa Bay here at 5.06, right, where Vegas has them at 5.4. So they're going to potentially go overlooked versus, Cleveland, which we confirm it's right. They're going to be overlooked versus the Rockies. Be overlooked over Mariners maybe, right? So this is just game theory here for you guys. So you could look at the difference here and say, okay, Colorado, I want to fade them tonight. Let's just say, is tonight the right night to fade them? Vegas says 5.6, and the model is really, really strong on them. Right, almost a full run gap between the model team total and the Vegas team total. There's also almost a 2-point gap, a 2-run gap in the total itself. And you know what, San Francisco gets also a bump over here. But what interests me the most here is that the model is agreeing with the Rockies being the top team in terms of implied run totals. So this was a quick video, guys, just to give you an idea on how to look at these numbers, how to leverage these numbers, how this could help you maybe focus on a team that we expect that's going to be a little bit less under-owned, to give you guys an edge. Maybe finding some pitchers and saying, hey, you know what, this guy really sucks. However, the model has him at a 50-50 chance. He's got a high strikeout rate versus the roster. And that team is also striking out at 31% in the last month against left-handed pitchers, particularly in GPPs. You guys are probably going to have a good night once every 15 nights, or a big night once out of 10, once out of 15. And these are little edges that I hope it could give you guys maybe bigger nights more often. So if you guys have any other questions, you guys know how to find me. I hope this helped out. And if you need anything else, please don't hesitate. Have a great day, guys.